4th we go in Friday night ACC Volleyball action. There's Charity Looper for Louisville, and a good flying dig from Koenig defensively for Florida State. Looper once again the swing. And then for FSU, that is Sky Eats, who tried to send it cross court but did so in error to give the Cardinals, the home-standing Cardinals, the opening point.
And you see Florida State using their right side twice right away here. That's part of their 6-2 offense. Look for them to use that offense from the right side of their court.
Eeks once again the swing. This Florida State team, they played 2 top 25 foes already in the year, as Looper is errant this time for Louisville to even the score. Florida, which was in the top 5 at the time early in the year, that went 5. Florida State ultimately fell. And then just a couple of weeks ago in the ACC against Georgia Tech, that also went 5 sets. So when they've had the opportunity, they've gone the distance, just couldn't quite get over the finish line first. Tonight, another chance, albeit on the road against a top 5 Louisville team. Here's another attacking error. It's been 3 attacking errors so far in this opening set. This one from Aiko Jones. You see a terrific dig there for Florida State from Audrey Rothman. An overpass, but the Noles can't do much with it. There's Aiko Jones, this time not extending her arm back fully, just a delicate touch to have the first kill of the night for either team.
That's a great shot by Jones. She saw that the block was a little bit late to close, so instead of taking that full swing, just get your hand on the ball as quickly as possible and push that ball down.
And there's an ace for Louisville's Elena Scott. She's had an ace now in 4 consecutive games, an ace in every game but 4 over the course of the season. For a Louisville team that is among the best serving in the league, leads the league in aces. Off hands there to score for Florida State was Audrey Koenig. Had a pair of ACC Offensive Player of the Week awards over the last month.
And you mentioned Louisville's serving, but it's double important for Florida State to be a good serve-receiving team in this match if they're going to be able to use their middle and have options in offense.
Looper gets the call for Louisville. For FSU, it's Conley. Here's a chance for the Cardinals. They go right to their most efficient offensive player, Cressy. But Florida State did well defensively. Louisville did well defensively here. It's a good rally between these two early on. But Cressy finishes it off. We highlighted her in the open for her efficiency. Had one chance a moment ago. Her second chance she took.
She does a good job here of shortening her approach so that she can get up quickly in tempo with that pass and moving that ball from the left side of the court to the right side of the court.
Cressy, 9 kills in each of the last 3 games for Louisville. Jones serves. And for Florida State, that's Kiara Roby to score. Kiara Roby, the transfer from Oregon, taking on a bigger role this year with the Florida State program than she did with Oregon's program a year ago. Ellie Block calls her own number, a rarity, but a heads-up play by the Louisville setter.
And that was a missed opportunity for Kiara Roby. She should have been up to block, not knowing that the setter was front row.
An early timeout by Florida State. We'll take it as well. At home. Well, that one loss was not here. It was downtown at the KFC Yum Center against number 3 Stanford in a reverse sweep for the Cardinal over the Cardinals. So this Louisville team is yet to taste defeat in this arena this season. You got to go back to a game against Ohio State last year to find a loss for Louisville at home, in their true home, if you will. Here's Anna DeVere to score for the Cardinals out of the timeout.
Great set there from Elena Scott. That's what is the best part about having a libero that used to be a setter, is when your setter gets a dig, you still feel like you have some rhythm to your offense.
Last time out against Virginia Tech, De Beer with a very un-De Beer-like scoreline, just 5 kills and a negative hitting percentage. It really wasn't truly needed in that game. Here's a point to Florida State to keep it close.
Fantastic quick ball, and Conley's able to find the line before Anna De Beer can close on the block.
Kiari Roby to serve here for Florida State. It's an early chess match between these two coaches, Steph. Both teams trying to establish what options they have offensively. Louisville always knows that De Beer is an option. So too is Cressy. A great defensive effort by Florida State, but they ultimately cannot keep it alive. And the point goes to Louisville.
But you mentioned the chess match. Every in-system ball right now we're seeing go middle or right side. And that's not necessarily rare, but for both of these teams with very strong outside hitters, it's interesting to see them go away from outside hitters early and really try to establish what else is working offensively.
Very challenging serve from Cressy. She's good at that. But ultimately, Florida State goes to the right side, and they're able to score through Sydney Conley, the senior from Florida.
And Florida State is running a fastball. That one's a little bit higher being out of system, but all the way out to the pin for Conley on the right side, and she's able to hit line before the block even gets to that area.
Angelija Draskovic, the Serbian player, serves here for Florida State, her second year at FSU after transferring over from UMBC. There's PK. Back-to-back games in double-figure kills for PK. There's her first of the night.
And an absolute fantastic serve receive from Elena Scott right on Ellie Glock's head. Makes that slide so tough to defend.
Down the middle that time was Eakes. Of course, just to send it back. And then off hands, Aiko Jones initially looked like she was up with the wag of the finger, but off hands, the point goes to Florida State through Rothman.
And we saw that same play earlier from Jones where she just threw the ball down in the hole. That's the exact same play there from Rothman, able to see those hands, keep the ball out in front of her in her sight line, and throw the ball off the block.
Here's Aiko Jones, this time scoring for Louisville once again.
And I love the variation and shots from Jones here. She's been going a lot of cross court, but she's able off of this ball in transition to capitalize on the block being distracted by PK and able to see the line open.
Mentioned that Anna De Beer had an off night against Virginia Tech. So too did Aiko Jones. Didn't have a kill. Played just 2 sets, also didn't have a block. That ended a 17-game streak where she had at least 1 block. Terrific swing there from Koenig, an offensive weapon for this Florida State team if there ever was one.
We talked about Elena Scott being able to set in transition. Here's Filimau jumping right before that line and able to deliver an in-system ball.
Point goes to Louisville on the service error from Florida State. Had a look there at Kylene Filimau, the freshman from Washington. Also plays on the Florida State beach volleyball team. Might have an easier time leaping off the hardwood tonight than she does off the sand.
And she's such a dynamic athlete. Coming back from an ACL injury, she's an outside hitter. She's a beach player. She's playing libero due to another injury on the Florida State team. And she's just such a stable force for the defense and the offense in services for the Seminole squad.
But a good first set going right now between these two teams. And on cue, if you believe in the announcer's jinx, there's a less than good touch from Conley to give Louisville a point. But that's one of the rare miscues that we've seen from either side so far.
again, we talked about they're testing different things. They're trying to force a little bit of middle offense or right side offense when they wouldn't normally choose that option. And so that's going to lead to some miscues.
Roby in the middle.
It's also going to lead to some kills when you don't hit the ball full speed, but it goes over the net. Those balls are so tough to dig. So that was a little bit of a force set to Roby. She didn't get her whole hand on it, but that's a tough read from Aiko Jones to try to pick that ball up defensively.
7 games with double-figure kills for Kiari Roby. A little bit of anxiety in the crowd early on in this set, as they see their Cardinals in the midst of a highly competitive one thus far, and it will stay competitive. Point to Florida State to tie it up at 11. The block against that woman, Charity Looper.
I think this is a bad choice here, bringing Looper inside on a lower ball into a huge Florida State block.
First block of the night for either team. Louisville goes to Kara Cressy, and Cressy, efficient as ever, scores for the second time tonight.
And we just talked about the maybe not so favorable decision by Ellie Glock, but running that faster ball to the outside really opens up that backside for Kara Cressy to run the slide.
Saw the early numbers there, hitting 500 thus far. Kara Cressy on the season had 10 games where she finished with a hitting percentage of 500 or better.
Roby was up so high on that one, and the ball was just set a little bit low, and she ended up pushing it out of bounds.
So it's Louisville by 2. DeBeer with the denial. And then it's Cressy to finish the point off with a block. Louisville's first block of the night.
We've talked a lot about the dynamic offenses, but when you play dynamic offense against dynamic offense, you also set yourself up for a lot of huge blocks. And we've seen them on both sides. Cressy with that left hand.
Florida State so far this year has proven to be the most difficult ACC team to block. We'll see what Louisville's blockers are able to do over the course of tonight's affair.
So far, we've seen a lot of what we just saw there and really good decision-making, which also makes them very hard to block.
Cressy scores off the block, and Louisville has extended largest lead of the game so far, courtesy of a 3-0 run. You see the hitting percentage numbers from season to season for Cressy. She was expected to take a leap this year and take on a larger role for this Louisville team, and she has. Very difficult serve from Looper, and it ain't that Florida State team alive. Charity Looper feeling very confident right now, coming off of a season-high game in the victory over Virginia Tech, and that had some swerve tonight.
And they're right there battling at the top of the ACC this year, and even based on scheduling and who they have left on their schedule opponent-wise, they still have a chance to win the ACC, even without taking home a victory tonight.
Yeah, they're coming off of a victory over Syracuse. They'll see the Orange one other time this year. If among all the schedules that are yet to be played in the ACC, Florida State's not the most difficult.
And again, of all the good coaching from Coach Poole, what a great timeout to stop the Charity Looper serving run.
That went off the tape. Scott has to go to the floor. But Louisville able to get the job done. Conley went up.
Rothman,
I beg your pardon, went up for Florida State.
She wants that one back. That was a ball she was deciding whether to hammer it or take the safe route and use two hands and push block that ball, and she ended up keeping it on her side.
Audrey Rothman, in her sophomore year, had almost 150 kills last year. Will likely equal her freshman total tonight, depending on what kind of night she has. Briggy Petrenko, the transfer for Louisville, comes into the game, one of the best servers in the ACC. She gets a piece of that ball to keep it alive. Camden Schrand, the true freshman, into the game as well for Louisville. Talked a lot about Kara Cressy so far in this first set. Well, there's her opposite number, Corey Lewis. Again, the nation's leader in hitting percentage, coming through for the Noles.
And one of the fantastic things about the Florida State offense is Corey Lewis and Kiara Roby replacing each other at middle. There is always a huge weapon in the front row out of the middle, and they're so much alike. They can run off 1 foot. They can run the push ball out at like a 3, and they're able to score in so many different situations and up quickly.
Droskovic back to serve. An overpass from Louisville, and it is absolutely smothered by Sky Eats. And you talked about the timing of the timeout from Chris Poole. It's proved to be a smart decision because Louisville was on a roll, looking like they were going to run away with this set. And out of the timeout, Florida State has pulled it to within 3. PK is blocked.
And that was a huge block by Rothman. And if you take away, to your point about the timeout, if you take away the one missed overpass that Rothman have, this is even a bigger swing coming out of the timeout. And I think Danny Busboom-Kelly to take a few more off-system swings than normal, but we're seeing that decision-making. We're seeing that basis for what their hitting percentage is made of.
You saw the slow start they had in non-conference play with those 6 non-conference losses. And while their non-conference slate wasn't loaded up with top 25 teams, there were a lot of really solid quality opponents in their non-conference schedule, leading to some difficult matches and some early learning moments. Service error out of the timeout here, though, for Florida State will give Louisville the point. Talking about losses to Florida, which we mentioned was number 3 at the time. A 4-set loss to TCU. Auburn, a 4-set loss. That time the middle blockers meet. And Corey Lewis with the attack error.
That set was left just a little bit inside for Lewis, and she wasn't able to catch up to the ball fast enough.
A looping ball from Glock. A little bit off the pace of this one so far. Louisville goes to the left side with DeBeer. That was very much on pace. And ultimately it's out of play off the top of the tape. PK had a touch. DeBeer just tried to keep it alive. Took a bounce off the tape and was over the line. Point to FSU.
Great touch there. DeBeer wasn't able to get her hands quite together and kind of doubled that ball off both arms, and it shanked off the second contact. You can't get called for a double on the first touch, but if it doesn't go in your favor and up in play, it's not beneficial. It's a great set from Glock to force that slide to PK in that situation.
Looper with a tremendous dig. And that ultimately is past the line from Aiko Jones.
So we saw a great set there from Glock to force PK on the slide, but I would love to see her change direction after that first swing and push the ball back across the court to either her back row attacker or the outside hitter.
Danny Busboom-Kelly off the bench with the card to challenge that last call.
The ball was called out, and they think that it was in from the Louisville bench, so they are going to try to challenge to see if we got any piece of the line.
Might also be checking to see if it took a touch, perhaps.
That can be part of, if the official sees a touch while he's looking for in and out, he is allowed to look at the entire series of events involved in the play being challenged.
I think from that look, it's fairly clearly out. And so Louisville's only hope would be if it did take a touch.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting ball for the bench to challenge from the opposite corner and say in versus out. Usually you see the coaches challenge more when it's on their side of the court and they feel like they got a really good look at it, and maybe the line judge missed it.
Important sequence early on in this match. Again, Florida State, we mentioned, they've gone the distance a bunch this year. And you would think if they're going to be able to pull off this upset today over Florida, it would be a long-distance affair. So who wins this first set, might go without saying, is paramount. And the call remains. In fact, it's confirmed. to the frustration of DBK.
So interesting there. He said that it was in on the sideline, but out long. And that's how the line judges call lines. And the line judge on the near side to the Louisville bench did signal it in, but that's a correct signal because it's in on the sideline.
Anna DeBeer scores off hands out of the break for Louisville, and the Cardinals are 5 points away from taking this first set. DeBeer, one of the few players so far that has an efficient hitting percentage at .400. These two teams each well under 150 right now as a collective. There's an ace. Back-to-back points for DeBeer.
That is one of the things that makes Anna DeBeer great, is her ability to step up and do the little things. Sometimes it's serve receive. Sometimes it's a big dig down the stretch. A lot of times what we know her for is the fiery kills, but then there's the ace when needed, and then the miss serves. She obviously didn't hear me hyping her up.
Obviously not. So on we go in this first set. Just a margin of 3 right now. Looper trying to make it 4. And Rothman with the swing for Florida State. Points to Louisville. And it's Aiko Jones scoring off of hands. Jones with 3 kills early on. Well done by Glock. Hefty swing there from Koenig. DeBeer arriving out of the back row, and she can't take advantage.
It's a good swing here, but it's a better block from Florida State. There was 3 attackers in the front row and Anna DeBeer coming out of the back row, and they still had a completely closed double block on the quick back row attack.
Cressy for Louisville extends the lead back to 4. And Kara Cressy leading the game right now with 4 kills.
And we talked about those off-speed balls being hard to dig. That ball was almost harder to dig after it hit the tape than if it would have been full speed to the defender.
Camden Schramm serves. That one just a bit too tall for Roby to reach, even at 6'2". And Louisville now with set point. That's a service error. Some ooze from the crowd. A lot of folks here thought that was in. But Louisville already down a challenge. Might not want to risk losing their challenge card on that call.
Probably not the right time to challenge.
Block to Cressy. Cressy with the block, and it ultimately proves to score. Kara Cress, second set. That's the question Knowles fans are asking. Audrey Rothman serves here. And Florida State scores on the attacking error from DeBeer. Mentioned the negative hitting percentage for her last time out for the Cardinals. One of just 2 times this year that she's been below triple zeros for a player that is typically elite. See the big disparity there. Best hitting percentage team in the country, but that is a startlingly low number in terms of how they performed in the first set tonight. They go to their leader in that category here, though, Corey Lewis, who scored a couple of times in the first set, but maybe she will need to be a bit more impactful if Florida State hopes to pull off this upset.
And the interesting part is it hasn't been one thing. There's been a couple of misconnections with the middle. There's been a couple of Louisville blocks. There's been a couple of off-system balls in transition, but really passing's been pretty good. They've made good choices, taken good swings. It's just been one error, one miscommunication, and those things add up.
Talking about the low hitting percentage there, Audrey Koenig with an attack error to keep that percentage low for a bit longer.
I do like that they went to her right away in this second set, though. They've got to find Koenig's offense if they're going to have a shot in this match.
Elena Scott viciously off the tape. Equally viciously there on the swing was Koenig, but Louisville equal to it. Koenig, another lethal swing, and this time it counts on the board.
Two fantastic swings back-to-back there from Koenig in situations where everybody knew the ball was going outside around that double block. That first sharp cross shot was fantastic.
Koenig had 3 kills against Syracuse in the sweep last time out. Wasn't needed to have her best game, but that did snap a streak of 7 games in double figures. Aiko Jones has been very active early on for Louisville tonight, and she's got another kill to her total.
And none of her kills have been beautiful tonight, but she's been able to find different ways around and off the block from the right side.
Cressy's blocked, Koenig and Roby involved. There's Roby in the middle, off of Louisville's middle blocker, Cressy. And Kiari Roby scores to give Florida State the advantage once again.
Roby does such a fantastic job in transition of shortening her approach when she needs to and being up just from the location she's in. You see the push there when she's away from the setter.
Point goes back to Louisville, though, on the service error. Mentioned earlier, Charity Looper should be feeling confident right now, coming off of a phenomenal game against Virginia Tech. 20 kills, a season high for her, hit 390, and had a pair of aces, but she's unable to equal that excellence here with a service error to give the point back to Florida State. And on we go with the score at 5-4. Florida State with a 1-point advantage. There's Anna DeBeer doing what she does best. Service errors are starting to build up between these two so far. We've had 10 now into the second set.
And Louisville prides themselves on being a strong serving team that helps set up your block. And Louisville has needed some work to help their block be more successful this season. But both Cressy and Looper there are swinging for the fences and going for the aces right away on their first serve.
There's Anna DeBeer once again.
She does a good job of working inside and going with where the ball is taking her. This is an inside ball, and she's inside that block and stays inside the block instead of cutting it back into the block.
Anna DeBeer's only had back-to-back games lower than 10 kills once this year, trying to avoid that tonight. A big reaction from the crowd there on that Louisville point. It's because PK was up very high to send the ball straight down.
This ball was a little bit high for the attacker, and Aiko and PK are able to both hang up there and throw the ball back down.
And actually, I think credit should go to Aiko Jones there. She's leading the way for Louisville right now. Here she is again, and she scores once again. Aiko Jones, after an off night against Virginia Tech, looks to be on it this evening.
We might have a challenge here, and it's going to be if Elena Scott was back row when she set this ball. So she's a libero setting the second touch, and she was in front of the 10-foot line. Now it looked like she tried to lift up her foot, and go. And they are deciding not to challenge it after a conversation. And props to the Florida State team. All the girls on the court were saying, challenge it or don't challenge it, and who got the best sight line, and making sure coach saved the challenges for when they thought they were going to win them.
That one hit right at Elena Scott, but she is very capable of handling balls like that.
It was a chicken wing dig.
There's Aiko Jones again. Make it 6 for Aiko on the night and a 4-0 run for Louisville.
And again, we're not getting the big, powerful Aiko Jones tonight, but we're getting the right shots off the right side of that court, and they are tough balls to dig.
Florida State ends the Louisville scoring run.
Great one-handed set from Draskovic.
Was that in? It was. And Aiko Jones on a bit of a personal run right now in the second set.
And you talked about her not having a fantastic showing in her last outing against Virginia Tech, but it's awesome to see a senior leader, graduate student on this team bounce back from a not so great showing and being able to come right back into the lineup and lead the way.
Cardinal service error gives the point back to Florida State. Jones with 7 kills so far tonight. Looking for her 6th game on the year with 10 or more kills. She hasn't reached double figures in kills since early this month. And for a player that's been around a long time, it's almost like a throwback night for her. The swing there for Florida State came from Maddie Snyder, the freshman from Land O'Lakes, Florida, who's made an impact this year. Had a kill in every single game she's played, now including this one. Koenig is blocked. And it's Aiko Jones with the finger to the sky to take the plaudits.
She has made a highlight reel out of the second set between the block where she was hanging and able to throw it back down. That was a huge block off an attack and loading up some kills.
Might that be the play that spearheads Louisville's effort to win this second set? Long conversation between Florida State head coach Chris Poole and the official here. But again, the challenge card stays, I guess, not in the pocket. They don't really keep them in the pockets, do they?
On the score table?
Yeah, there you go. A little bit too big for the pocket, I think, those challenge cards. Got to have some cargo shorts on to keep that thing tucked away. Point to Louisville once again. For FSU, Koenig has the answer to pull it within 2.
Key to that play, though, was a fantastic serve receive from the middle, Robbie. And not only did she take the ball, then she was able to still drive and hold a blocker. That is a lot to ask out of a middle, and she executed perfectly.
Kenna Phelan goes back behind the service line as you see the numbers from the stellar Koenig. Louisville goes to Cressy down the middle, and she's able to score off hands. So far for Louisville, it's been equal parts Cressy and DeBeer, and a bit more from Jones to lead the way. Florida State trying to get Koenig going. And for A woman who wants to be an anesthesiologist. She put Louisville to sleep there with that one.
Great set from Felon, hanging up there so that ball is above the block, and Koenig just drops it into the hole.
There's Looper, who's been quiet, but not quiet here.
This ball was called in, but we're going to have a challenge that it was out. Now, this one is in front of the bench of the team that is challenging, so I'm more into this challenge.
Florida State's been flirting with that challenge card for the last couple of minutes. They're going to go with it here. Trying to turn the tide of this set. Louisville's been in control. Not a huge control, but they've been the leading team through most of it, and this is a very close call by the look of that. Again, the call was that it was in for Looper, and it might just have caught some of that white paint there.
Yeah, I think that ball's in.
And it's a quick review as well.
And you can't blame the defense for being a little bit sucked into the middle of the court when Looper's hitting as strong as she is. That's a good shot from Looper to catch that back line.
Looper's first kill tonight.
I think you were right, though. I think Coach Poole had been ready to challenge for a while now, and no one on the court had a good view to fight him on that one. So they let him have it, but he didn't get it.
Aiden Bartlett into the game, the senior. Didn't play last time out against Virginia Tech. Had a couple of assists in the last home game here against Virginia. Oh, the block for Florida State. That's been part of the recipe for them tonight, their fourth block. And Kiari Roby gets credit. Roby with over 80 blocks on the year. Had a game where she had 12 against Virginia Tech early on. Cressy able to score this time off the block of Florida State. And that 15th point for the Cardinals will take us to a timeout. Cardinals is leading the way right now. 7 kills on 15 swings. That's a healthy .333 hitting percentage.
She's doing a great job of finding ways to find holes in the Seminoles defense.
Also has a pair of blocks this evening as well. A player that has been around a long time, has led this team in kills previously in her career. Has taken a back seat in that category the last couple of years to other outside hitters for this program, but a big piece of the culture. And after, again, as we've mentioned, not her best night last time out against Virginia Tech, she's having one of her best nights in a while right now.
Stepping in as setter when needed.
Quite literally can do almost everything on the court. There's Looper going way low for that ball. Reese Robbins, the freshman, into the game, involved with PK on that block, but ultimately Looper can't keep it alive, and Florida State gets the point through Phelan.
Great heads-up play there by Phelan. She has such a good ability to get her body to the ball and give herself 3, 4, and 5 being herself options to score in transition.
Getting a good look there at Kylene Filimawa, the freshman from Washington. There's PK. PK hit less than 200 against Pitt and Virginia, but in 2 games since has hit 500 coming into tonight. Jones, another terrific swing. And she continues to have the hottest hand on the court.
That was a typical Aiko Jones swing. High, hard, over the block with that pop on the ball to the deep corner.
Good swing on the other end from Florida State from Rothman. Second kill on the night for Rothman.
Both Rothman and Koenig have that great sharp cross shot around the inside of the block. That's hard to defend.
Louisville continues to feed Aiko Jones, and she continues to eat.
And credit to Florida State. We've talked about their blocking. They have a triple block up on this Aiko Jones swing out of the middle.
Almost an overpass. But Florida State able to score through Corey Lewis. Not the cleanest volleyball they will ever play, but in a second set that feels a bit like the way the first went, starting to get away from them a bit. Corey Lewis able to find a way to score.
And we've talked about the missed connections with the middles, but those are coming because they're trying to force everything high. And they're trying to reach these middles at the peak of their jump and their reach. So if you miss by a couple inches, then you're over the middle. But it's so much better than running everything low and at the middle's chin and into the block. They're giving their middle hitters room to work.
Point to Florida State on a net violation. No argument from Danny Busboom Kelly.
I think most people in the arena saw that one.
Oh, there's Looper showing that springboard athleticism.
Much better shot there from Looper. We talked about last time they ran this ball. They ran her right into the block, and she just hammered straight ahead. You see the side spin on that ball. That's a great swing from Looper.
Look at Scott flying around, but ultimately to no avail. Koenig scores for FSU. She's got 7 kills now to lead the Noles.
That's that cross court from Koenig. She didn't have to go outside the block that time because there was a hole, but it's that last little extra thumb down that makes that exact position on defense tough to find.
Cressy sent back. Looper off hands. And Charity Looper having a strong second set. See the numbers she had.
And Looper is at her best when Louisville is running a varied offense. We're seeing a lot of sets going to Cressy and PK in the middle today, and that opens things up just enough for Looper to be able to find the seam of the block, find the hands, and not have to hit off of a strong double block on every contact.
Looper the option again. Block calls her own number. Here's a chance for Louisville. They go to Cressy, and the block does its job for Florida State. Looper took a lot off that one. Was it a pancake? It didn't matter. It's not always about hitting it with all the power you have. It's about finding that part of the floor where the other team cannot defend it.
And this wasn't a great set in transition. She was way off the net. And you see Florida State's coaches a little bit frustrated about that ball because when a hitter is tipping from off the net, that ball's in the air for a long time. It had to travel about 3 feet to get to the net and then over the net. And they really felt like their defense should have picked up that ball.
Florida State scores here. Sydney Conley once again. Three straight seasons with over 100 kills for Conley.
I think that ball hit the antenna on the slide and was called out.
Her mom, Jessica, was the first All-American that Poole coached at Arkansas. And Poole said, "I've known Kenna her entire life." There you see. So a lot of Arkansas ties on this Florida State team. And you can certainly understand the reasons that Phelan would have come here, but you'd have to think Arkansas might be a little bit frustrated that she didn't go play for the Razorbacks, given that her dad also was an athlete at Arkansas. Point here to Florida State. And they're trying to come from behind in this set to even the match at a set apiece.
We saw Conley eating up the line early, and now that is a fantastic open spot in the sharp cross.
Noise rises just a bit as this crowd tries to will their team back into control, and Louisville goes back to Looper. Aiko Jones caught the eye early on, but here in the second set, Charity Looper is making her mark.
Crucial serve receive here for Florida State.
Ricky Petrenko on to serve. There's Kenna Phelan setting it for Conley, but she was sent back. Now Phelan sets it for Lewis. She's not sent back. In fact, she sends it down to even the score at 22 points apiece in set number 2.
Phelan just rotated out, but she has been fun to watch run this offense. She is throwing the ball in all different directions with great location for the hitters.
I think we got a bug on the court.
Coach Meskey's going to get yellow carded for walking on the court, but none of the girls wanted to touch the bug.
Some laughs from the crowd. You saw the face of Lewis there. Kind of looked frightened, and everybody's having a laugh about it now. But Meskey had to come onto the court and kick the bug off.
The R2 was turned around to the scorer's table, and when he turned back around, Coach Meskey's on the court, and he was like, whoa, what's going on? But it was just a bug.
Anna DeBeer. There's nothing to bug about there.
This is hard. Great double block there from Florida State again, and they were still unable to shut down Anna DeBeer. Those are the ones that are frustrating as players and coaches.
5 kills on 14 swings for DeBeer. Louisville needing 2. Now they need just 1 to take a 2-set lead over Florida State in a battle of 1-loss teams in the ACC. The number 4 Cardinals.
That Nebraska-Wisconsin match was national championship caliber.
We talk a lot about growing the sport of volleyball, but I think your point is really well taken. There's more volleyball on TV than I can ever remember. Anytime you turn on the TV trying to find a sporting event to watch, almost always there seems like there's a college volleyball game. And with so many terrific teams all across the country, it's almost always of high quality. Got a high quality one tonight between these two. It may not be 2 top 25 teams doing battle, but 2 teams vying for that top spot in the ACC, a league where the regular season champion is the champion. So every single game matters just that much more. Can Florida State find some answers out of the timeout? They can't. And that's because DeBeer can do it for Louisville. And like it in the second set. Now we will see what kind of offensive fireworks the third set has in store. It's a defensive play that catches the eye early on this first point by Elena Scott there. And then another defensive play ultimately, though, results in a point for Florida State. Looked like for a moment that ball was going to fall inside the line from either PK or Aiko Jones for Louisville, but ultimately it's off hands that Florida State is able to score. Roby behind the service line, and she challenges DeBeer in a serious manner, and DeBeer not equal to it. One of the best players in the serve-receive part of the game on this Louisville team, but unable to get the job done there. A lot of sweat in this game, as you would imagine, with a lot on the line. Charity Looper doesn't look like she's sweating, though. She has been terrific since the second set.
She definitely does make it look easy. Again, this set is a little bit off the net, kind of catches her on her back shoulder, but does a great job of swinging for that end line. We saw the challenge earlier where she hit the end line. That seems to be her sweet spot tonight.
Quick reactions there at the net. And it's Lewis to score for Florida State. And for a player, Corey Lewis, that we've highlighted significantly for good reason, leading the country in hitting percentage. Hitting sub 200 by some margin right now. A bit of a shock. Point here goes to Louisville on the attacking error from Florida State.
Interesting. I understand the 4 hits call means the block didn't touch the ball before it was covered, but I thought it was a closer play. I was looking to see if the Florida State bench would challenge.
Attacking error followed up by a service error for a Louisville team that is always aggressive in that part of the game.
And you mentioned the terrible hitting percentages from both teams in the first set, but this is a little bit more what we saw in the first set. It was just kind of ugly volleyball, a lot of errors, a lot of different situations. The rallies were not ending with a block or with a kill, and that's when you know you're watching good volleyball. When something spectacular happens to kind of end each rally. And this first set and now the beginning of this third set have been very sloppy.
A little less sloppy there from Kara Cressy, who did a terrific job of finding a seam along the back row for Florida State. Florida State out of that intermission, Steph, with a really good response with their back against the wall on the night. Again, looking for their first ranked victory of the season, looking for what would be a signature victory this year. Looper goes down to defend that ball. There's a pancake from Droskovic. Nearly another. Looper out of the back row, scores off the hands of Lewis.
And quality set there from Glock. She had multiple opportunities. She was leaning backwards just a little bit here and couldn't connect with Cressy, but was able to hit Looper on a fastball out of that bit.
Lily Glock with 26 assists on the night. Had 2 straight games of 40-plus assists. And after scoring, Looper serves. Took a lot off that one.
Great dig.
Cressy for Louisville, off the hands of Rothman. Cressy's second in the game with 8 kills behind Aiko Jones and Audrey Koenig, each with 9.
And Koenig's had a quiet 9 kills. Look for them to go to her a little bit more here in the third set.
That one just able to get over the tape. And Louisville keeps this alive. Jones has to set it over. Lewis, was that in? It was not. An attack error for the nation's hitting percentage leader. You see how close this one has been. 2 sets to none, but very competitive 2 sets, and now into the third. This time, Jones with the pancake. And Rothman this time makes no mistake.
A quality high outside swing there from Rothman. Off system, everyone knew it was there, double block, and she still powers over that block.
See Rothman there with just the 3 kills. Looper, she's got plenty more than 3 kills at this point. Out of the back row this time with her 8th.
And the Florida State block's doing a good job getting in front of her, but the way that she hangs and the angle that she hits from, it's ping-ponging off the top of that block, which is really hard to control as a blocker. So I think that gets really frustrating because you're doing all of the right things, they're pressing over, and the ball's just hitting high on those fingertips from a downward angle.
There's another attack error from Florida State, this time Maddie Snyder, the lefty. And it's ultimately an ace for Louisville to make it a 3-point cushion. Briggy, right now it is the home team, the 4th-ranked Louisville Cardinals, who have been able to put their authority on the game in that particular battle. And not just the second in the ACC, but a top 20 team in the country in that statistic.
And credit to Louisville's defense, too. They're out-digging Florida State 41-34, and making Florida State take those extra swings is what leads to more errors down the stretch.
So right now, strength on strength. And Louisville's strength has proved to be more powerful than Florida State's so far. Point out of the timeout, though, for the Seminoles from Roby. And now Kenna Phelan. PK, was it in? It was. Right on the line. PK may not quite have been anticipating that ball coming to her, but she made the most of it when it did.
Not the way you would draw it up. A set from Anna DeBeer from the left side of the court, running a 2-ball to the middle to PK. But that's when you're just playing scrappy volleyball, good balance, and taking a quality swing on the ball.
Jones got a piece of it to keep it off the floor for Louisville. PK, the option once again. Back-to-back kills.
Such a smart play here from Elena Scott. Ellie Glock ended up kind of down on her knees in defense here. So Elena Scott really puts this ball high in the air. That's such great court awareness that makes Elena Scott one of the top liberos in the nation.
Here she has the set to Jones, and it's not just a set, it's an assist. And Aiko Jones now with her 10th kill. First time since early this month that she's hit double figures.
Jones needs to make a highlight reel just out of this match and watch it every day for the rest of the season. Blocking, defense, swinging. I think maybe it took for her struggling a little bit, having kind of that rough game at Virginia Tech and really deciding, am I going to bounce back and finish my 5th year season the way that I came in and the way that I deserve to finish my 5th year? Or am I going to kind of fade into the woodwork? And I think we've figured out what she chose today.
Absolutely. Chose success today. And does it again here with her 11th kill. On the heels of a night against Virginia Tech where she played just 2 sets, had 0 kills, 4 errors on 5 swings, and didn't have a block. Tonight she's got 11 kills, 4 digs, and a pair of blocks. Here's the most recent kill.
And look at the effort there in her transition. And again, not always doing what's flashy, but making the right...
Significant disparity between what she's been able to do night in and night out all year long and what she's done tonight. And there's another attack error for Florida State, this time from Sydney Conley. Well, ultimately it goes down as an extra contact violation, but it would have certainly fallen on the Florida State side of the net. And Louisville trying to run away with this 3rd set after being neck and neck with Florida State in the first 2. That one hit on a line right into the chest of Ellie Glock, and she couldn't get under it. Rothman with the kill.
And Rothman's taken some big swings tonight. Her stat line does not show what I think she's done here tonight. She's serve received a ton of balls for the Seminoles, and she's taken good quality swings. She's just taken a lot of out-of-system balls that have led to some errors.
Phelan diving to the floor, and ultimately it sets it up for Koenig to score for Florida State.
Sharp cross shot again inside the block, yes.
Gives her 10 kills, the first Florida State player into double figures.
You'll see here she transitions out wide, but then she's really able to finish with that arm outside her body and go inside the block.
Bit awkward for PK, but she's able to put a swing on it. And that swing from Florida State, it's another attacking error. I mean, that's been the story of the night for this Florida State team that prides itself on being efficient offensively. Has not been the case.
And again, I think it's the Louisville defense continuing to prolong the rallies. And when you're not used to having to take 3, 4, 5 swings in a rally, you get frustrated by not getting the kill in one of those first couple swings. And then you try to do a little too much, add a little bit extra, and that's where the errors come from.
Corrections, Corey Lewis back on the floor. Kiari Roby serving for Florida State.
Corey Lewis checks back in as Kiari Roby steps behind the service line. And maybe right now the recipe for Florida State is simple. Get it to number 4. She's hitting over 300, one of 2 players that are for Florida State right now. They do get it to number 4. The Louisville's number 5 Glock is equal to it. Koenig this time has to readjust. Lewis just gets it over. Here's a chance for Louisville. They go to Jones, and Roby can't control. Great hustle from Rothman into the seats on the floor, but it's a kill for Aiko Jones. Everybody's okay.
Spectators included.
Let down from Louisville's perspective. Service error gives Florida State the point. Louisville always toeing the line of having 10 or more service errors, it seems like.
They've picked up aces tonight too, though, so you want to keep that balance. Serving tough, and that's something, again, making Florida State take that extra swing or take the hard swing is the way to combat this efficient offense.
That one was on a tee for Aiko Jones. That one teed up for Koenig, but it's another attacking error. Nearly doubling up the total from their opponents tonight, Florida State, and not in a category where you want to double up your opponent. Strand on to serve for U of L. And it's back-to-back errant swings from Koenig.
And I think this is where we talked about just trying to do that little bit extra. Koenig is just trying to go a little bit further outside Cressy's block, and it's leading inches at the net can lead to feet when you're talking about where the ball lands out of bounds.
Sky Eats comes in for that kill. She had one early on. That's her second. Been a quiet night for Eakes, who had 5 kills in the victory over Syracuse in their last time out. Had an outstanding freshman season, but has taken a little bit of a step back the last 2. And a block here is what scores for FSU. Lewis, if she can't score on a swing, she'll score by denying Louisville. Looper with the swing for the Cardinals there, and then they follow it up with a service error. And that is a momentum killer for a team trying to build it, desperately needing to build it.
Yeah, and we talked about the service errors being okay down the stretch when you're doing good things, but right now, Florida State can't afford any errors, let alone service errors.
The margin is 6, both between Louisville and Florida State, and from Louisville clinching the victory. The service error here from Aiden Bartlett will make it a 5-point lead instead.
Replaces Aiden Bartlett.
Feels like a game being played in fits and starts. Just hasn't had that kind of flow to it. Charity Looper's been in some kind of flow. Couldn't find the floor there. Eeks. Now De Beer.
I completely agree with the flow statement there. It's been interesting. There's been a lot of rallies ending in errors, a lot of kind of ugly volleyball. Even some, we talked earlier about Aiko Jones, and some of her kills were not pretty kills. They were just kind of getting the job done. So it's definitely been a gritty match from the Cardinals. But honestly, I think that's what the Cardinals needed. The gritty matches, the ugly matches are the ones they've been struggling in this season. And they've really done well and played well in the big games and not in the ugly, scrappy games down the stretch.
It's an excellent point. You used the phrase vulnerability about Louisville early in the broadcast. I think they've shown some of that. As you see the freshman Reese Robbins coming out of the game.
But if you're going to put yourself as a top 4 team in the nation, you have to be a team that people don't want to play because they know that you're going to come out on your game every single night. And right now in the ACC, I think every team is acting like they want to come out and get their chance at this Louisville Cardinals squad. And the Cardinals really need to change that tune in this last stretch of ACC play.
Well, part of it, I would imagine, as you see over the course of the 6-game winning streak, just dropped 4 sets in those 6. Part of it is this Louisville team and program has had so much success over the last 2 years. I bet some programs around the ACC have a little bit of a target on the back of the Cardinals. They want to see Louisville. They want to test themselves against the standard bearers in the league.
For sure. That's what it's all about, right? Going up and seeing what you have in the big matches. That should be what every athlete and competitor wants to do.
Cardinals 3 points away from a sweep. And another error. That one much closer. maybe it's going to be a challenge from Chris Poole. He's quick off his seat on the bench. He grabs the card, and it will be a challenge. On a night when a lot of the swings haven't been particularly close for the Seminoles, that one was. And with Louisville on the precipice of this victory, Poole goes to the challenge card once again, I think very necessarily, try and keep this game going.
They're looking for in or out here. The ball was ruled out, and they are hoping that the ball is in.
It's Audrey Rothman who went up for it.
And a great line swing here around the block. And it doesn't look like the ball was deep, so I think we're looking at the sideline view if that ball was out on the sideline. Tough look there, but you did see that Ellie Glock's foot was outside the line and that she was right on that sideline and the ball passed her right shoulder. So in most cases, that ball lands out, but it's tough to see right down that sideline.
Difficult to tell based on what we've seen, what the call perhaps should be. But again, the point to make here, as is always the case during challenges, it's about what evidence there is to turn the call over. Now they're looking perhaps to see if one of those two Louisville blockers got a piece of it.
And again, you can only challenge one thing technically at a time, but the officials are able to review the whole play, and not meaning the whole rally, but like the situation that they're reviewing can be reviewed completely.
Which is great, right? Because it gets the call right no matter what the challenge was necessarily. Make sure that the call more often than not is correct.
Exactly. I think you want to look at whether they were in the net, what you saw, and if you happen to see something great. But I do like the fact that a coach has to say what they're challenging. They can't just say, go back and watch the last rally and see if you can find anything. Because that would be very messy and prolonged.
Yes, it would. Prolonged is a great word for it. Call stands. Might have been a case where there just wasn't quite the evidence to overturn it, whether the ball was in or out. It's about evidence when it comes down to review. So Louisville now 2 points from this sweep. And a very similar ball and the same call. And Rothman arguing that this one was deflected. The Florida State without a challenge, so they cannot prolong this much longer. Crowd rises to its feet. Louisville looking for ACC victory number 10. And this crowd will have to remain standing a bit longer as Roby puts it down for the kill.
But contrary to how this match has gone, we wanted that to be a kill and not have this match end on an air.
You want to end on an exclamation point rather than a period. And it's Aiko Jones who provides that exclamation point on a night that certainly belongs to her. She finishes with 13 kills, her first double-figure kill evening since October.